Welcome back to the Hot 7 Nightly News. Thank you for staying with us. Prime Minister Alan Shastney has welcomed home a group of St. Lucians who took part in this year's Paralympics. Not only did the team participate, they walked away with numerous medals, including gold. The island's Prime Minister has lauded a group of Special Olympics athletes who took the United Arab Emirates by storm this month during their performance at the 2019 Special Olympics World Summer Games. The group were greeted upon arrival from their Abu Dhabi trip by the proud Prime Minister at the Yonora International Airport on Saturday. Whilst there, he took time to openly speak to athletes, making them feel appreciated and like the champions that they are.
There is no greater gift that St. Lucia could get for its 40th anniversary than knowing that we have so many champions in the room today, and I genuinely mean that. So congratulations to all of you. I also want to congratulate the football team for continuing the incredible tradition of St. Lucia, of some of the best footballers in the world, and leading the way. We're so proud of you. I'm also very, very happy that you got to go to Abu Dhabi. You know, Abu Dhabi is one of the fastest growing cities, and you got to go through Dubai as well, I heard. Yeah, hopefully none of y'all want, any of you want to move back to Dubai? I see a couple of people who want to move back to Dubai. It was pretty amazing, huh? But I'm so, so proud of you in terms of what you've achieved. And as I said to you, St. Lucia could not get a better gift for our 40th anniversary.
National Director of the St. Lucia Special Olympics team, Junior Belize, took the opportunity to make a few requests, highlighting where she thinks Team St. Lucia could benefit most. She said she was glad that the athletes got to see how people on the other side of the world live. It also taught them new values, including respecting rules and cultures.
What we're hoping for is a greater expansion to the program to see how we can now have more inclusion in terms of persons with disability around the island. And I mean, we have had discussions prior with Youth and Sports about the expansion that we're looking for. We have also had a discussion with Football Association in terms of expanding the program, getting their coaches more involved and understanding Special Olympics so they can also include persons with disability into the program and the training so that we can actually get a greater crop of players that can actually go and represent us. Because we do have great players. And if you had seen the games and the level of performances, you would have definitely said St. Lucia has talent that is hidden, and we really do have to harvest that kind of talent.
The team won gold in football, silver in track and field, gold in bocce, and 3 bronze medals. Direct yet diplomatic. That was the leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, who made a case for why the U.S. president meeting with 5 Caribbean leaders, in particular leaders of countries who form part of CARICOM, was troubling. He says the move goes against the very basis for the formation of CARICOM and its established frameworks on foreign policy. St. Vincent's Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez says the decision to not honor the Montevideo mechanism negotiated by CARICOM, Mexico and Uruguay on Venezuela and to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump personally to discuss Venezuela is troubling. CARICOM, Mexico and Uruguay signed on to the Montevideo mechanism to advance dialogue to promote resolution to the crisis in Venezuela. Friday's meeting, he says, does not augur well for CARICOM unity and the efficacy of CARICOM on the Venezuela matter.
It cuts across the agreed mechanisms that we have put in place. It doesn't mean that those countries don't have the right as sovereign states to have conversations with whomever they want. But remember, I take you from the revised treaty of Chaguaramas. I take you to the decisions of CARICOM, including the statements, who we have appointed, and the mechanisms. And we in CARICOM have to be very alive to the mischief that some persons may be up to seek to divide us in a manner which we ought not to be divided, and therefore reduce the extent of the efficacy of our work.
Dr. Gonzalez maintains the position of non-interference and non-intervention in Venezuela. He referred to the actions of the United States as a, quote, creeping coup d'etat, end quote, against the legitimate government, and said that CARICOM will not fall victim to the entrapment of others.
The United States of America has made it plain that it wants regime change. No doubt about that. And they've threatened the use of force against Venezuela. That's contrary to the Charter of the United Nations. And the only way you can threaten force or use force is in self-defense or by way of a resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. Well, then nobody has alleged that Venezuela has attacked the United States in a way which justifies a military response or a threat of force.
The meeting with President Trump and the Caribbean leaders was also reportedly aimed at having discussions on energy. On the issue of an energy agreement proposed by self-proclaimed Venezuelan President Juan Guaido, Dr. Gonzalez says the U.S. cannot on one hand play a major role in the suspension of Petrocaribe preferential arrangements and then work with Guaido on something else.
They have imposed these unilateral and illegal sanctions, which have rendered inoperable the Petrocaribe agreement, both in respect of the distribution of the fuel and the transfer of any monies from the respective countries to Venezuela. So they have brought, through sanctions, that arrangement to an end. Now, it is entirely ridiculous that you bring something to an end through sanctions, and then the beneficiary politically, Mr. Guaido, who is now going to offer an energy agreement, we look stupid or something.
Meanwhile, a video conference was held over the weekend with the Canadian government acting as an intermediary for Caribbean governments to speak with the self-proclaimed interim president of Venezuela and his representatives. Dr. Gonzalez says CARICOM owes its allies, Mexico and Uruguay, the obligation to work with them on the established Montevideo mechanism. Physicians' groups have long taken a stand against the high consumption of sugary drinks, and now those in the U.S. are calling for several policies to limit access to sugar-sweetened beverages among children and teens. The American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Heart Association released policy recommendations on Monday targeted at federal, state, and local lawmakers, encouraging them to implement policies that would reduce children's intake of sugary drinks such as sodas, sports drinks, and juice. The policy statement is the first time AAP has recommended taxes on sugary drinks. Here in St. Lucia, the issue of banning or taxing sugary drinks has been on the table. In an interview in 2018, Health Minister Mary Isaac indicated that a policy direction would be determined soon.
We definitely are going along those lines, taking that path to reduce on sugar consumption in drinks and in a lot of other areas, because we know about the increasing rate of diabetes in St. Lucia, and we as a Ministry of Health are really starting to focus on preventative care. So that is definitely a route that we are looking at. We have not come out with any policy decision as yet, but we are working on that. A ban, do we go with a tax, and that sort of thing. Of course, we are going to have to do the different consultations in different communities and, with the different stakeholders. But all I can say for now is that it is something that is being given serious consideration, and we will take a policy decision on that going forward.
That was Health Minister Mary Isaac. With the 25th of March marking the Remembrance Day of the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, an observation from the past compared to the present has been made. Recent uprisings in various sectors of the industrial landscape in St. Lucia has spurred the Executive Director of the Folk Research Center, FRC, Hilary LaForce, to comment on past ancestral actions of protest and revolution, which he says are still necessary to enact change today.
Today, March 25th is also recognized as the International Day for the victims of slavery and the slave trade as declared by the United Nations. As you know, the United Nations declared slavery as a human tragedy, and as such, we must remember this. It is basically the aspect of the transatlantic slave trade, where most of our people was brought in from Africa and basically forced to work, and they were basically they were exploited, treated in the worst of way, worse than animals, and we must remember this. Our people, our youngsters in particular, must remember this, must understand where we came from. Of course, there are persons who will say it was a blessing in disguise, because otherwise it would not be the Caribbean, but at the same time, it was definitely an atrocity of the highest degree of human government, of mankind.
A group from the St. Lucia Volunteers team is setting a positive example after spending their Sunday cleaning up a portion of canneries. The initiative is leading up to Good Deeds Day on the 7th of April. The president of the St. Lucia Volunteers Canneries chapter, David Henry, says even wee ones rolled up their sleeves to clean up the beach and the river in canneries.
I'm so happy that they got involved, because it's a statement from them to the community, making the community aware that, you know, our rivers need to be kept clean. The kids use it to bathe, to go to school. You know, while we were cleaning, we came across a lot of pampers, defecation, a lot of garbage. Really is an indication to us that we're not keeping the community clean and creating a very unhealthy environment. The beachfront, we've been having this issue for a number of years. But even as the kids were walking around the village, you know, they were protesting against people defecating and littering. I'm hoping that this action today, this form of volunteerism, can actually really impact people in the community and get them towards creating a sustainable community.
Meanwhile, in the community of Monsieur Rizal, community members also rolled up their sleeves for a cleanup campaign on Saturday morning. The effort was viewed as a great opportunity to galvanize support for initiatives that will redound to the benefit of the community. You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.